Peace, peace. Maybe now is the the rate at which we're vibing. May I not go too far in the future. May I not go too far in the past. Right now, right now, man, it's really, realizing it's really a death, and quote unquote death, a death to the egoic mind, or as a moment of silence for our thoughts, because I'm starting to realize, how serious it is in the aspect of like being in our egoic mind is gonna become like say for instance, if the more you're still lingering in your mind, the worse it's gonna get down the line. And just looking at like how much I maintain a high level of meditation on my growth, and still watch myself dip into like little spots of like not being in the now, and or like allowing for my thoughts to sneakily dip in there. Just seeing how intense it has gotten over time. You know what I'm saying? Over quote unquote time. And just now for us to realize, again, we're moving out of alignment with our higher self. Of course we're gonna use our thoughts. Of course we're gonna use our logic, but it's in alignment, with the inner being. And another aspect, I came across realizing too, like another sneaky aspect of the ego, is like, say for instance, like even though some of us, I spoke on like how a lot of times we look at our growth as something in which it all boils back to like looking at something as good or bad, positive or negative, instead of just looking at it, or more so like good or bad, or like right or wrong, as in like this is right and you should be doing this, and this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this. But most of our imbalances come from that energy. But I thought about how like on my growth, like I get to a place of not comparing myself to anybody else. My ego will sneakily slide into a place of like comparing myself to like other people on their growth. And then as I clean that up, I realize the ego will find another little sneaky spot of comparing myself to myself, in the sense of like comparing myself to the higher self, or the greatest version of myself that I know I could be. Like that me, being again the greatest version of myself to the fullest potential. So say for instance, again, I fall back off of comparing myself to others, but then my ego find a place of comparing myself to my greatest version of myself, finding that back door. But just again, there's no need to compare ourselves. We are what we should be, and as long as we constantly work on being in alignment with higher self, being in alignment with our inner guidance system, our strengthening our intuition, so that we could hear that inner voice, more loud and more loud and clearly. I know clearly and quickly kind of got mixed up right there. And also I spoke on a while back, again, how a lot of indecisiveness, again, or just like I just said, comes from labeling something good or bad, right or wrong. And right now it's not a time to be rigidly following rules. So another thing I felt like, I told myself, I'm like, as I'm watching everything, change, as we're constantly shifting, I see one constant. You know what I'm saying? I see one constant that I should follow. Like if anything that I see on this growth that I should just stay dealing with, is just making sure that I'm no longer rigid about following certain rules and certain teachings and aspects. Like I just promised myself that I won't be rigid about that I will go with the flow of my inner guidance and my inner being. And my inner being and my inner guidance goes with the flow of certain rules that a certain religion or spirituality may go with, cool. But as long as it's in alignment with my inner being first and foremost, and I'm not doing it out of following some rigid rule, or following a rule in general, or some type of again, some religious aspect. So just one thing, again, realizing, just no more being rigid about following rules. Like, it's whatever the moment calls for, you know what I'm saying? Your moment might ask for you to eat a cheese pizza, and not the vegan cheese, like the regular cheese, the one that clog you up, because it's meant for you to get clogged up so you could go to the store, because there's a certain store that have something that will unclog you. So like, damn, like you gotta go to that store now. Now in your mind you could be like, oh man, I ate this cheese pizza, my stomach stopped up. And then it brings you to the store to buy that stuff to unclog you, and then you end up coming across a situation, unique to that store, that area, but that's beneficial to your growth. But it was all because you ate that cheese pizza, something that, if you was looking at it from a human moralistic level, it would be seen as bad. That's another thing we're moving out of. We're moving out of, this human moralistic aspects of looking at things, and more so from just the perspective of, again, we're flowing with our inner guidance and our inner God self, remembering that all these rules and religious aspects were created later in our fallen place, in order to kind of have basically like little training wheels to have us, or like little guardrails for us to hold on to until we wake back up. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with psychedelics and things of this nature. It's just the aspects to just keep us, maintaining, until we, hit that point of reawakening. But it's like remembering to, it's all about building new habits right now. Like, so, the thoughts, that aspect of that, because also that's the whole bird box aspect of to some extent, as far as with the people committing suicide. But it's like nowadays, if you're in your thoughts, because what else being in your thoughts does is it causes stagnation, because indecisiveness and not being able to make a decision is gonna feel like a living hell. Like your energy is gonna be so like to feel like somebody pulling on your left arm and somebody pulling on your right arm with two monster trucks, like you splitting both ways, and it's like, I don't know, but indecisiveness is definitely gonna, and again, that's that true hell. Because think about it, when we're being when we're being indecisive, we're being stagnant, we're being dammed up, and we're being damned in the hell, the dam, and we're removing what's moving. Shout out to again Andre 3000 with that verse. When we thinking too much, we removing what's moving. So always, just keep that in mind, and how important, because now it's for the most part, fuck trying to, make certain things happen externally if we don't have shit together internally, because say for instance, you won't be able to maintain whatever little job or whatever little thing you're doing if your thoughts run you crazy. If your thoughts run you crazy, then whatever you're trying to hold on to won't even be there, because you're going to be all, messed up due to being in your thoughts. So, it's important for us to say, fuck it, I'm going to meditate an extra hour longer, or, I'm going to, sit down quiet a little while longer, or sit down and do a candle meditation a little while longer. I'm going to sit down and do affirmations a little while longer, This other stuff could wait, because my soul is way more important than a fucking job in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? What's more important? Making sure you're not late for your job. And again, it's not knocking nobody and what kind of job you got. But, just to put in perspective, what's more important? Making it to a job on time in this matrix, or fucking making sure that your soul is to a place in order to leave out of this, this temporary construct. What's more important? And it's a free will universe. What's more important to you? What your soul, what you feeling, But, again, I forgot where I was at exactly was in that notion, but just stop going by the book and go by what your heart telling you. Like, don't just listen to universal frequencies and so and this and that just to be listening. Like if you vibing with what I say on my video, or if it resonate with you, cool. But at the same time, just make sure it's in alignment with your inner guidance and your inner being. That in essence your inner being pointed you to this information, and not your egoic thoughts, like trying to feel like, oh, well, I have to go along with what's being said on this video. Again, because also actions from love and not fear. Don't let your actions be from a place of fear. Let your actions be from a place of love. But in another aspect, again, to just remember dimensions, and again, back with decision making, dimensions are shifting very quickly. 5D, it's less space in between, how long, like less space in between the energy that we put out and how quickly that energy come back manifested. So, being on point with our decision making, because one hesitation and we have to go with a whole different reality. Literally, the universe got something lined up for us, but when we hesitate and be like, now we done changed up the reality. Now the universe, like, oh shit, because basically, like, as we're, say for instance, if I say I start off my day and I just got a strong feeling to go to a coffee shop in Hollywood, from that moment I put that out there, the universe is lining up other people, like it's sending a message out to other energies that I should synchronize with in that day, like, hey, and like, y'all be in the pathway of universe on his way to Hollywood, so from where he at to where he's going, he could, be synchronized with the energy of his intent, you know what I'm saying? But, the moment I change my mind and, I get a little indecisive, I'm like, you know what, I ain't going to that place. I ain't going to the coffee shop in Hollywood. Then the universe be like, oh shit, back to the drawing board. Now we gotta line shit up, like, for this new decision. And think about it, you just made a quick decision to change what was already lined up for you. So after you done made this change, it's gonna take a while for things to, be synchronized, because you just kind of made a quick change out of the blue, But all those aspects, again, we dimension shifting so quickly that, one little indecisive moment, in every aspect, like, because I even see, like, with me, embodying, say for instance, like embodying more of this Aries energy. So I done stepped into the realm of shifting into that Aries, dealing with what I love, and, dealing with my ideals, and being head first about, manifesting what I'm dealing with, like being active, fiery, spontaneous. So as I'm stepping more into that realm, say for instance, the old paradigms that was trying to linger there, like say for instance with that Libra energy, like say for instance certain things were presenting themselves for me to be codependent, but the moment I shifted out of that codependent vibration and into that, out of that Libra codependent vibration and into that spontaneous, do-it-yourself Aries energy, then those certain things that were like presenting itself when I was in that Libra mode is no longer, nudging at me or presenting itself, because I'm in a different dimension right now. Because literally our vibration puts us in different dimensions, But, that whole aspect. So that's why, again, going with the first mind, or quote unquote, I should say going with the heart, aka what we quote unquote call the first mind in essence. But, because everything be lined up, And now the universe is going to be showing us stronger and stronger how much we have to, be in alignment with our inner being and stop trying to control things, trying to be a control freak with our egoic mind, and allowing for our thoughts, to drive us crazy. Because again, in most cases, our thoughts arising from out of a place of the past or the future, Because when you're in your moment, you're in your moment. Like, why would you be thinking, especially about other things, if you're enjoying your moment? You know what I'm saying? So in most cases, you know, that energy pops up because of the energy of not enjoying the moment as well. But yeah, just and again, the indecisive vibe of like judging a thought as right or wrong. That's why you feel so like when you going to buy food from the store again, it's like, oh no, that ain't on Dr. Sebi list, or this is, or that's from that paleo diet and that shit wrong, or this shit right, or this and that, and it's like, bruh, and again, balancing out the vibe of remembering that you are in the matrix. You know what I'm saying? Like, this material realm we in goes, it aligns up with your beliefs, like your core beliefs in your subconscious is what creates your reality. You know what I'm saying? So just remember to, again, not be so rigid at building your core beliefs on some vibe of like, all right, only vegetables. Like if I eat anything outside of vegetables, then it's going to be very harmful. If you create that rigid type of rule in your subconscious mind, then, just eating, you could eat a vegan cookie and it'll feel like it make you sick, because in your mind, it's like, oh man, it was outside of vegetables, so it was bad on my body. It was very harmful. Like you're claiming it, like you're putting that energy out there, so it creates that vibe. So again, no right or wrong, no good or bad. And also with our thoughts, say for instance, when thoughts do arise, don't judge it. Don't judge the thoughts or yourself for having those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Just observe. And observe, and then you start to like feel the vibe of where that energy coming from. You know what I'm saying? Have a certain awareness about where that thought coming from, but observe. Don't view it as right or wrong, good or bad, because again, that's what creates that separation within ourselves. And when we create a separation within ourselves, that creates a separation within the external realm and of our immediate universe. So it's definitely And another aspect I want to speak on too. When we say the matrix, the matrix is not a false experience. Like the things that go on in this realm, for lack of a better word, are real. It's just temporary. Like this is not the true essence of our being. This, and matter of fact, I almost say like this is the true, in essence, land of the dead. Like a dead person ain't on the other side. Like this is the dead realm in essence. Like, because say for instance, everything in this realm is only animated due to our soul. You know what I'm saying? Due to our soul putting forth a certain will. Or in essence, spirit. So again, the life in essence comes from us animating dead objects. Hence the fact that once my consciousness, my soul leaves this bodysuit, it becomes motionless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it goes back into the earth. You know what I'm saying? Back into this, this matrix realm, because it's not eternal. It's temporary. So that's when all the aspects of saying the matrix fake and it's false and this and that. It's just from the aspect of it's temporary. It's only considered false because it's not eternal and infinite like our true essence. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, all these concepts are using certain words like the matrix and things of this nature just for our human mind to grasp these concepts, like on, just like a kindergarten, just like you talk about sex, and instead of saying sex, you talk about the birds and the bees, and then when it gets to a certain place, then you tell the kid like, hey, about mom and dad are having sex, bang bang bang, you know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. But until that youth is ready to hear those things, it's not presented in the same way for us, as far as like certain words presented a certain way, you know. So it's like you're being told, hey, this is a matrix and this and that, until you get to a level of realizing, hey, you know, this whole situation was created, you know, by you, in essence, for you to have a experience, and nothing, you know, like how we try to make things seem like more than what it is. It's just a, you know, a big storyline that we created to play out in order for us to have something to do other than just sitting around as the no thing, you know, just forever and ever. You know, it's like, all right, instead of just sitting down, quote unquote, sitting down, like just being that triple darkness and that no thing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever without any type of like experience. You know, that no thing decided, you know, aka, you know, us, we decided to, you know, come from that no thing and have an experience. So the whole aspect of Lucifer and, you know, the material realm, you know, it's not nothing evil, you know. It's only evil, quote unquote, if you let it, you know, if you get lost in it, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's experience that we created for ourselves, you know. And that's why everything, you know, connected with Lucifer, the devil, also connected with the goat, because it's like that's the scapegoat. Like, hey, you know, we gonna start off this shit and do this shit, and we just gonna blame everything on that energy of Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? Like the scapegoat. You know, shovel that shit on Lucifer and keep it moving. You know, but you know that whole aspect again, we are all of that. So again, no more rigid rule following. You know, constantly be in the moment. You know, like your now is the only thing that exists. And yes, it can be tough, because another thing too, we building new habits. The reason why these things are so difficult, because, you know, either you're just starting or you're not trying to really build a habit out of it. Like, you got to build a habit out of meditating and saying positive affirmations and doing positive visualizations. Like, you got to make a habit out of it, to the point where once you start actually consciously, deliberately making a habit out of it, it's going to get stained in your subconscious, to the point where your subconscious is going to make a habit out of dwelling in these energies. But first you got to make a habit out of it, because we come from a place, again, where we wasn't taught how to be in a habitual nature with things that are beneficial to our soul expansion, you know, our soul growth. So, you know, just really, you know, be strong about building those new habits. You know, remember, you know, another thing too, this place don't have any, you know, like, the only rules that exist within this realm of reality is the 7 hermetic principles. And I should say laws. That's the only laws that exist. Everything else is a rule that could be broken. You know, like, again, a law cannot be broken. Like, say for instance, right now, you know, we can't necessarily break the law of as above, so below, as within, so without. Like, that's an unbreakable law. Compared to, like, if somebody make a rule saying go a certain speed limit, but it's like, hey, I'm capable of going more than what that speed limit is. So obviously that was just a made up rule and not a universal law, because if there's universal law, you know, I wouldn't be able to go past that speed limit, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that I'm able to means that it's just a rule and not a fucking law. That goes back to the Moorish aspects of, you know, claiming your sovereignty as an indigenous, you know, indigenous being and as a sovereign soul, you know. But, in fact, as I say that, go check out, I hope I remember the name of it. But it's my video speaking on linguistics. It was speaking on, like, the courthouse and church linguistics, something like that. But, you know, speaking on that whole aspect, but that's basically it, you know. And don't be judgmental of yourself, love yourself unconditionally. We constantly shifting through energies. So, again, there's no right or wrong, good or bad experience. It's just the experience of what what you're dealing with. It's how you respond to what you're dealing with is what changes things. But that's basically it, y'all. That's basically it. And remember to be in the moment. Watch out for the trickiness of the egoic mind trying to compare, like basically making that inner comparison where you're comparing yourself to your greatest version, because that that's like a little back door for the ego, like where instead of comparing yourself to others, you comparing yourself to the greatest version of yourself, and you sit down like mad because like, bro, I should have a home right now. I should be doing this, or I should, do this, or I should be, like all this, like, and that is real. We do, with a lot of us having like this psychic or intuitive foresight, we done seen, matter of fact, like say for instance, since a little kid, a lot of us done seen ourselves in the positions that we are now. So for sure, a lot of us got this vibe of like, bro, I've seen myself in the greatest light of myself, and right now I'm not necessarily being that. But realize again, if you're not being the great, that aspect of what you're seeing, because you're still, on your growth and you're still processing, So don't be mad at yourself. Don't look at it as good or bad or whatever, Just continuously grow. Peace, peace. Happy now. Now is the vibe. Read that which revive. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.